Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another video? There's another paid request, this time for Gabe. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2007 film Next, starring Nicolas Cage. It was based very, very loosely on the Philip K. Dick story, The Golden Man. Very, very loosely. And it follows Nicolas Cage as this guy named Chris, who is kind of a low-key magician in Las Vegas, but he has this power where he can see 2 minutes into his own future. This is one weird thing that happened where he saw a lot further. He didn't know all the details, but that's why each day he's at this diner at a specific time, waiting for this girl to pop in. Just like the one time he saw a lot further. And he wonders if there's some link to this girl, what have you. Long story short, the FBI, including Julianne Moore, wants him. They want to detain him. They get an idea that he has got this power, and something to do with the terrorists have this nuclear bomb going on. And they want his help to find it. Now, before I go further, this is a film I remember seeing back in the day, and everybody hated the film. I remember thinking, didn't mind it. It was time, and I still think it was a time waster. Like, I don't mind the film, as his issues. It does, but I don't know. I like Nicolas Cage. I like Julianne Moore. I thought Jessica Biel did fine for what she was told to do. I wasn't really that bored. I liked the idea based on the film. I think that really went a long way. I liked how it was utilized. Him being able to see 2 minutes in the future, so it has this sort of video game type of feel where, you know, he's dodging sniper bullets, or he's imagining, like later on, trying to find this bomb in this facility, so he imagines, what if he went this way, what if he went this way, what if he went this way, and then over here, what if he went here, what if he went there, and the way that's done visually. And like this is one shot where Nicolas Cage, but it's like an army of Nicolas Cages, and the possible location outcomes. I thought that was an interesting visual thing to do. But I will say, and yeah, I like Nicolas Cage in the film. I was never that bored with it. I do think, though, there are issues with the film, because as it goes on, like, I think it starts off strongly. I like the idea that he's a bit like a magician in the Vegas, but he doesn't try to do too much because he doesn't want to be that noticed. Like, he gets money from gambling, but he gambles small. He doesn't try to win all the big jackpots because he doesn't want to be noticed as much, but he wants to get a little bit of money. And the way he's like avoiding all the men who are chasing him throughout the casino. He like stops this one guy. Like I said, I like the aspect. I like the idea so much that it made me enjoy the movie as it is. Like, he sees a guy pull a gun and shoot this woman who's like a, I don't know if we'll call it cashier, but she's behind where she gives you the money if you put in your winnings and your chips. And he goes in and shoots her. Oh shit. And then he steps out of it, and then he stops the guy. Kind of like you were seeing, like, the Dead Zone, stuff of that nature. And like the way he's doing all stuff to hide in plain sight because he can see what they're going to do next. So he's able to like move. Like, there's a bunch of men here, he's able to move around them because he's able to see. I know some people ask, well, why is it only 2 minutes? Well, because you just say that for any fucking movie. You know, why does Superman, why is it that it's only lead he can't see through? Do you hate Superman because, well, that's bullshit, he can't see through lead? Do you hate Superman, the character, for that? Why? You say with anything with supernatural stuff, any movie with a psychic. Well, how come you can't how come you're fuzzy with it? How come you're not more clear with it? How come this and that? You can always do it. You can always ask questions about it. Like I said, to me, I like this idea behind it. Like I said, I thought Julianne Moore, I think she's a good actress. I didn't really get why Nick. I get it, but I don't get, like, Nick Cage. At one point, he knows someone's coming, and so he visualizes what would happen if he stayed. And he has a conversation with Julianne Moore, who talks to him and says, "Hey, we got this nuclear bomb. It's going to kill a lot of people." And he's like, "If I go with you, I'm going to be, people like you have been torturing me for a long time." It's like, I get that, but I do think the movie could have done a better job, like maybe showcasing his backstory or showing flashes of how awful it was that he was being tested on, and instead of just being told, show, don't tell. Because the idea you don't want to be tested on, and you're afraid that if you go with them, you'll never see the light again. At the same time, there's still a nuclear bomb that's going to kill a lot of innocent people. And the fact that you're saying no still makes you a bit of a fucking selfish prick. So it kind of hurts the likability of the main character to do that. Like, I get it, but I get the idea, but I think they could have been done a lot better. And I think this was the wrong director, because Lee Tamahori, I think he's the guy that did Die Another Day and Triple X, the one with Ice Cube. I think it's the same director. I think he did The Edge. I like The Edge. I just think that's his best movie. I could be totally wrong because I'm bad with names, but he's not the best director. And when you get the action scenes, you get some really bad CGI. Like, there's a bit in this mountain where he meets Jessica Biel. They go back. She falls in love with him pretty quickly. But see, that's the thing. Like, any negative, I then have a positive, where I like the montage where he finally sees her at the diner, and all these scenarios are trying to impress her, and they keep failing more and more. Like, he goes in, and, with a cigarette, trying to be cool, or he goes in saying this or doing this. Even like when her ex-boyfriend comes in, and he acts cool, dodging all the punches, but then she blows him off. But then okay, that's not the way you do, so he's like, get ready. So he takes the hit. He realizes that's what he has to do. Like, those aspects I did have fun and enjoy. Kind of like a Paycheck. I really like Paycheck with Ben Affleck. Speaking of Philip K. Dick stories, where I like the idea of all the items, you have to use them in a certain way. And that stuff really hooks me as a viewer. You could call it gimmick or whatnot, but it still worked for me. But like I said, at times the action scenes, when they have the CGI, it's just not that great. Like, there's a bit when he's being chased by the cops, and he, like, gets hit by a train. Then he knows he's got to go faster. He's got to avoid the train. The train CGI is not that great. Like I said, there's a bit with him and Jessica Biel. They get to this place, and it's in the mountains, and the FBI's there, and he's avoiding them. One thing leads to another, and it's cool that he's avoiding snipers and stuff. That was really cool. I like that idea. But then, like, this thing happens where all this shit goes down the mountain. It's all this machinery and vehicles, and then all these logs, and I get it. If you try to put a real actor amongst these things, you could really hurt them and it could be very dangerous. So I could understand using CGI for the actor's safety. But it gets not only so ridiculous with how much shit's going down this mountain, but it's not that good. I mean, this is 2007. The CGI isn't that good. It really isn't. It looks Asylum level CGI compared to stuff nowadays. I know that's not fair because it's 2007, but goddamn, there was still better CGI at this time. It seemed cheap even for its time. Especially one where he's with Julianne Moore and the logs are coming down, he like saves her in the law, just bouncing off her car and like landing almost on top of them, and just I think you just see like in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, you just see it for yourself. It's like that's rough. That's really fucking rough. Either they should have done something much more simpler but looks better, which maybe that should have been the intention. I have to be always avoiding snipers and have it be like one thing. Okay, like Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow in 1996? 95, 96. When Broken Arrow came out, there's a bit with Christian Slater and the lady, and there's a helicopter right near them. And the helicopter looks like it fucking lands right in front of them, blades going forward, and they're barely avoiding it. And that looks good. That looks fucking better than what we saw here. Like, go watch the helicopter almost, landing near Christian Slater and I forget her name. She was in the '90s Super Mario Brothers movie as the princess. Damn it, I'm bad with names. The helicopter lands almost like near them. The way they made it look, but you got John Woo doing it. Here, you don't have John Woo. Like, you should have either done something like that, have it be simpler, but it looks better. I think that's the thing, is that they try to do too much, and when they try to do too much, it just looks shitty. It's like, you know what, don't try to do too much. If it don't look like crap, a simpler, better looking thing will work wonders more than trying to do a bunch of shit but it looks like dog shit. And like I said, there are other issues. Like I said, I think they should have given a bit more flashes of backstory with Nicolas Cage's character to make us understand more, even more, why, despite all these people in danger because his nuclear bomb, why he's saying no. Otherwise, it makes him a bit prickly. Again, the CGI isn't the greatest. Also, like early on, after he escapes the people in the casino, after this car chase, he's at his place, and Peter Falk is there. Now, I don't know, is Peter Falk supposed to be his dad? Is Peter Falk supposed to be just a buddy of his? Like, he's in that one scene while they're playing pool, and, Peter Falk is, of course, Columbo. Peter Falk. Columbo. I'm like, why is Columbo in this? And I like the actor, but then I'm thinking, okay, we're going to see him again. No, we never see him again. Just that one scene. So I don't know if there was meant to be more scenes with him, or again, I don't know if is he Nicolas Cage's dad? Is it uncle? Just an old friend? His manager? Like, who is he? I don't know who he is. If someone does, give me a clue. Now, like I said, this is very loosely based on the Philip K. Dick story. Because if you look at the story, The Golden Man, I think that took place much more in the future, where there's these mutants, including this guy who, I think he was feral, but he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like body-wise, kind of the 70s bodybuilder Arnold, but he had golden skin. He had golden skin, and he was feral, but he had the power to see into the future. And like, he escaped and got this woman pregnant, and I forget if it was, it's like he was against mutants and how mutants could maybe overtake us if we're not careful. And I didn't read the story, to be fair, just bits and pieces I heard of. And I don't know, it sounded like it'd be a tough sell to try and make that into a movie. But like I said, the reason I don't hate the film is not only do I not mind the cast, but the idea I thought was charming enough to take me through some of the faults of the film. Now, I'm not going to say this is one of Nicolas Cage's best. I think for the second half of the film, it's not as memorable, Like, in a stupid way, I know this doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel as big as it should feel. Because, when I looked at, like, National Treasure films, and I looked at Con Air, and I looked at some of that stuff, they feel either bigger or much more memorable. The Rock. You compare to those films, this feels... It's trying to have some big set pieces, but again, the CGI didn't work for it. But I think it's just fun seeing Nicolas Cage utilize his power and the different ways that he's utilizing it. That was kind of the charm and fun of it. And I said the second half kind of dwindled a bit, where he saves Julianne Moore. Spoilers. He saves Julianne Moore, but he's caught. And then he's being tested on. Jessica Biel by this point has been kidnapped by the terrorists because they want Nicolas Cage. I don't remember how they know about Nicolas Cage, his character. And then with this machine, he sees the death of Jessica Biel. He wants to stop it. Julianne Moore decides, okay, we'll help. They're able to... At one point, she's strapped to a bomb in a wheelchair, and then blah, blah, blah. Like I said, the interest kind of waned as it went along, and it just feels like it should be this exciting thriller where... And that's what it should have been. It should have been like Nicolas Cage is going around imagining the 2 minutes and trying to push the limits of his power to find this woman in the city, or try to find this bomb, and he's pushing his limits, and okay, he's got to deal with bad guys, so then all these... And they do a little bit of that, where he escapes the military, and he's like able to fight these military guys off. But it should have been a lot more of him, like, fighting the bad guys, the terrorists. Not that he knows martial arts or anything, but because of this power, I think that could have been utilized a bit more. I mean, in a weird way, I kind of look at this as like a flawed pilot of a TV show. That while it's flawed, I actually would like to see the TV show picked up and see more of Nick Cage and this power being utilized. Because, how many pilots have we seen that were flawed, and you're like, yeah, it was flawed, but you liked it, and it does get better. There are a lot of pilots out there, TV shows that are like, they don't, I think a sequel would actually work better with a better director. Again, I think the director was a bad choice for this. Because, again, you get the guy that did Die Another Day, and the Triple X movie with Ice Cube, State of the Union. I don't know why. But like I said, any negative I have, it comes with a positive. Like I said, I like the idea of him, Julianne Moore, and him going into this facility, and the way he kind of has all these versions of himself try to look for it. Like, that's a cool image. That's a cool shot. That's a cool sequence. Like, he imagines himself going onto this bridge and blowing up, and he snaps up, is like, okay, don't go there, and then splits himself into all these different versions of himself. Or there's just a Biel, and the bad guy has a gun to her head, and he's like, how good... He's talking to Julianne Moore, how good are you with that gun? Very good. Okay, he goes up, and it's kind of like the video game Reload. Like, what they call save scumming. Like, you save every, 10 seconds. Like, especially, well, that's really like on well, I did that with Doom 3. Like, Doom 3, I would get a little bit save, like, save in increments. It's kind of here where this montage of, like, he's getting shot, but then he's going, nope, go this way, shot, nope, go this way. And I liked the visual of that. Like, the way that was done was, like, you see all these different Nicolas Cages getting shot, but then the one keeps going. So I thought that stuff was pretty cool. That stuff made me like the film enough to be like, okay, I'm minding the film for what it is. And like I said, I don't mind the cast. It's not too overlong of a film. I think the ending rubbed people the wrong way, and I can understand. Because what happens is, super spoilers, he saves just Biel. The two of them, Julianne Moore and her FBI guys, are looking at something. Nicolas Cage goes, "Wait a minute, I was wrong." They look up, and it's in the trailer. The big fucking nuclear explosions. I'm sure they put that in the trailer to make people go, "Well, what the hell? What's that about?" And then Nick Cage wakes up, and you realize that the last hour of the movie has been one long vision. Because it seems like, I guess, when he's with Jessica Biel, he can have long vision. Now, again, it never explains why that's the case. Like, if it was somehow known that Jessica Biel had this power as well, and maybe the two of them, like, their power gets stronger together, but that's never put into play. Again, why that's the case, as to how Nick has this longer vision, I don't know. I think for a lot of people, they felt shortchanged because, wait a minute, you're saying that the last hour I've been watching has been bullshit and didn't really happen? But at the same time, you're in the mind of Nicolas Cage where, if you're trying to visualize how does one live 2 minutes, well, the movie tells you. Like, in Nicolas Cage, like, the viewer, like when he's talking to Julianne Moore after talking about Peter Falk, we see through his eyes it's been 2 minutes, but then for other people it's been split second. Same with here, and Nick Cage and us, the viewers' eyes, has been all this time, but for people like Jessica Biel, boom, it's been split second, and he wakes up next to Jessica Biel in bed, and that's when he decides, I'm just going to call Julianne Moore, I'm going to help her, and takes the initiative. So at least there's that where you say he learns, although, I mean, I think they could have done a much better job with it. And when the explosion happens, again, really bad CGI, just really rough looking. So yeah, it's not a film I would defend. It's not a film I would call underrated. It's just, as I'm watching it, I'm like, I liked enough of the ideas of the film. I am a Nicolas Cage fan. I don't think this is his worst film because I like a lot of his direct-to-video stuff, but some of them are pretty iffy as well. Like a lot of direct-to-video films. I mean, I'd rather watch this than Season of the Witch. That wasn't direct-to-video, but I'm just saying, for even theatrical, like Next, I was still had a bit more fun with than Season of the Witch. I had a bit more fun with this than, what the fuck was that one? Jiu-Jitsu, or whatever the hell it was called. Sorry, I'm silent because I'll put it this way. This is a film that I found kind of interesting, kind of fun. Like I said, it's a time waster. It's okay for me. I didn't get mad watching it. But at the same time, I can see why people would. I would not call it underrated. I would not defend it either. I think with a better director and a few more drafts of the script, a director utilizing more practical effects, or utilizing, hey, Deja Vu is a much better movie of this. You want to talk about a movie, an action film, where you can see a bit in the future. Deja Vu is a much better version of this movie. Does he have someone like Tony Scott working with Denzel? You have a much more capable director. So, Deja Vu, like I said, much better version of this movie. But again, this one, like I said, time waster. I know I said it the 4th time now, so I'll stop. Maybe because I've seen so much worse movies that the little moments that shine to me were enough that I was entertained in it. And it didn't have some... I can understand people getting mad at that ending, but it wasn't a downbeat ending. It wasn't a sequel bait ending. It was just... Well, you see what happened, and then Nick Cage is don't go in and help Julianne Moore and do a lot quicker and faster. Like I said, it seems like a flawed pilot to a TV show, but a TV show I still would not have minded to see. Kind of like, what was that show? The Sentinel? Was that what it was called? Where the guy had like his five senses expanded? I think it was The Sentinel. Anyway, I don't know how else to word it. And Jessica Biel wasn't that bad. You know, she just ragged on a bit. She's not like the best actress, but like in the 2003 Chainsaw Massacre film and this movie, she's not that bad. I'll take her over Megan Fox. I'll say that. As I said, Julianne Moore is a good, capable actress. You know, she was fine in Evolution with David Duchovny, in Hannibal. She wasn't the problem with Hannibal, with Anthony Hopkins. Like I said, I do think she's a good actress. The Big Lebowski she was in. And Nick Cage looks like he's having a bit of fun. And I said, I really grown to appreciate and like Nick Cage. Especially a lot of his recent work. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.